Hey everyone, after everyone said this movie was a terrible, terrible movie, I finally decided to check it out for myself, and it's not that great to be honest, but was it the worst movie I've ever seen? I would still probably give it to The Visit for that one, but I digress. This is Thomas Cecily Jr., aka Mustache Tom, and this is my review for Pan. So, I did think about doing a rant for this video, but after seeing how everyone else reacted, I decided I'm not even going to be that upset if this movie turns out bad. So, you know, this movie wasn't all that great, as I said, but there were a few things that I thought were okay about the movie. Not spectacular or, anything like that, but, I thought the intro to this movie was pretty interesting, and it kind of actually reminded me of, I think it was one of the Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe movies. I can't remember which one, but, all this thing about there's like this secret sort of thing going on, and then the pirates are kidnapping kids for some reason. Yeah, that's never really explained, by the way, which does bring up a few issues immediately. Like, why are the pirates capturing kids? Ugh. Um, yeah, and things like that don't really aren't really ever made crystal clear throughout the movie, and there are a lot of other questions that are raised throughout the movie, more so than actual answers. So that is probably one of the biggest flaws of this entire movie, is that there are more questions than answers. But I gotta give it up for Hugh Jackman. I mean, that guy did his best to overham this movie, and to be quite honest, it's in the trailer, so it wasn't really all too surprising to see, and everyone else was doing okay for what they had to deal with, at least. You know, nothing too spectacular, but nothing too, like, I don't know. I thought it was semi believable at the very least. Again, just personal preference, but Anyways, so Pan ends up in Neverland. They have him mining for like pixie dust for because of this war destiny thing, and then he gets some dust, and then this other guy claims the dust, and then he gets caught, and then Blackbeard, sorry, has him, and then he kicks him overboard, and then the flying scene happens. And to this movie's credit, again, I think that the first time he flies is legitimate, even though it's never really explained. That never explaining it the first time actually does make sense, because it's sort of like, how did this happen? And I would have expected for this movie to answer that by the time he actually figured it out in his brain, but it's never really clear at the end of the movie, which again does bring up the issues of this movie. Some of the CGI stuff works for it, and some of it, like these ugly bird monster things, are terrifying to look at. I really would be terrified if someone artist out there started doing their thing where they draw this terrible bird mounting like the Appa CGI thing. My God, that'd be terrifying, and I hope no one sees this video and says, "Yeah, I'll do that just to mess with Mustache Chom. That would be a great idea." But I digress. Anyways, they end up finding the native place, and they find Tiger Lily, and then they say all this prophecy stuff. And that's again just whatever prophecy stuff. It's been overdone, and I don't see why it needs to be in this movie. It doesn't really make sense for Peter Pan to be a prophecy child or whatever. I don't know. It was never that way before. At least I don't remember it being that way before. So it being in this movie really never made any sense. So there's that. So yeah, there's this other part where Blackbeard and he has Pan in this ship, and then he's talking about the prophecy thing, and then he has him right there, and he's like, "Are you going to kill me?" And I'm like, "Well, if you're so scared of this whole prophecy thing, why not just kill him there?" Again, too many issues get brought up by this whole prophecy thing, and I think that is one of the things that really holds this movie back from, besides the terrible CGI, that really holds this movie back from being something watchable and fun and all that good stuff. But it is what it is, and again, the actors try their best to sort of save this movie from being a complete disaster. And I do think there are some bits in this movie that do work. The ending, uh, it feels like I'm torn between what happened in the ending, especially because they end up on these two ships. We have all the four characters right there, and then uh, Blackbeard throws Hook off the ship, and then Pan suddenly decides, "Oh, I'm just gonna jump off, and hey, I can fly again." Uh, and that's one of the things that I feel break the movie. I mean, by this point, there should have been some sort of explanation as to why he was able to do that, and it was never really made clear. At least I don't remember it being uh, clear. And then he suddenly says, "Hey, think a happy thought," and then he's fine. And then the pixies surround him, and then he sends them, and then they kill Blackbeard, I think. Um, and then the movie ends with Peter coming back with a hat for some mysterious reason, and then he takes the rest of the kids that were in this orphanage, and then he brings them to Neverland. And it's a weird ending, to be fair. I mean, I think this movie could have worked out so much better if they just stuck to what was originally kind of out there about, Peter Pan not wanting to grow up. He ends up in Neverland. Perhaps through Tinkerbell meeting Tinkerbell earlier might have helped this movie a little bit more. Maybe not. I don't know. But another thing I have an issue with is that Peter Pan never gets the full costume, which, why? I don't know. I mean, he has a hat at the end. Why not just have him with the rest of the costume? I don't know. Why not? Right? And then he never fights, which bugs me even more than that. I mean, Peter Pan's known for his sword fighting ability. Where does he learn that? It's never done in this entire movie. Why didn't Tiger Lily at any point say, "Hey, you need to learn how to fight with swords"? Well, come on! That was so obviously the easy solution to this problem, and then it ended up being not that. So that part is a bit of a rant, I guess, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty bad movie. So I'm gonna give this movie a 3 out of 10. Like I said, there are only a few bits here and there that they're like little snippets that I think help boost this movie a little bit, but it still feels like it's not even meeting us halfway, especially towards the end of this movie. It just starts to fall apart, and a lot of things that you kind of would have hoped for don't even get fulfilled. So that's the end of that. My name is Thomas Cecilia Jr., aka Mustache Tom, and I'll see you guys next time.